Previously at Tomorrow Shank State Penitentiary. And now, back to the escape attempt.
So, Emily Dickinson takes their son out of the movie, while Jim takes his ex-employer's advice and takes his daughter on Soarin', which somehow has a more tolerable line than Buzz Lightyear, and then the... What?
Jim? Where are you, Jim? I've been waiting for you.
His euphoric mindset inspires dreamlike imagery of sexual gratification and troubling objectification undertones.
I have something to tell you, Jim. Soon, Jim, you'll be mine. You'll be all mine.
Wow, Soarin' really is going international.
After the ride, he sees the gathering of the Juggalos yet again, and one of them actually approaches him. And they ride Spaceship Earth. And... Oh, for God's sake, I was just there!
His subconscious gave him a premonition that abandoning his family in futile pursuit of youth would be disastrous to his spaceship Earth-shaped testicles, and his subconscious is directed by Michael Bay.
So then, as if to illustrate his subconscious's point, I guess, one of the girls actually does approach him and gives him that choice.
Come with us.
No.
Okay, so Jim is finally showing some maturity. His family is crumbling apart, but rather than embrace the chaos and fall into the hedonism he thought he wanted, he makes a firm decision to pick up the piece.
I'm afraid if I come with you, something bad is gonna happen.
Because while the allure
But
of...
if you don't, something will.
Because while the allure of youth is tempting, it's also fleeting, and only by acting his age and being a responsible family man can he hope to... And he's rewarded with spit in his face, and now he can't find his daughter. And then two tennis instructors tase him in the dick. Sure, why not?
You know, movie, I can't help but notice that every time I try to get a beat on you, you steal that beat away from me and shove it up your ass, thus surrounding it and all the shit I don't give. I know you're trying to keep me guessing, but your deadly allergy to both character traits and basic story structure has robbed me of my incentive to guess. Which leads me, unfortunately, to this scene. This scene comes so the fuck out of nowhere and has so little to do with absolutely anything. I'm genuinely concerned actually watching it might irreparably damage the mental health of my viewing audience. So instead, I'm going to show clips from it and describe the scene to you. Keep in mind, I am not making any of this up.
Jim wakes up strapped to a spinning chair in a room under Spaceship Earth, which looks like something out of an early 70s dystopian sci-fi flick, but with more pictures of naked people. Then this scientist guy who works for the Siemens Corporation and talks like a cross between Christoph Waltz and Tommy Wiseau constructs a miniature Spaceship Earth around Jim's head that scans his imagination, claiming that Siemens only wants to monitor his imagination while Disney wants to control it. Apparently the French girls work for Siemens, Siemens shut down Buzz Lightyear, and Siemens told Jim's boss to recommend Soarin', all as part of some elaborate conspiracy that we, the audience, never learn any more about because the director would rather show us ejaculation imagery. Then the scientist gets decapitated, and it turns out he was really a robot!
Any questions?
Siemens kinda sounds like semen. Get it? The ambiguity of the subversion is system error, system error, system error, 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 error.
Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer.
I disagree.
I'll give the scene this much. It's not boring. Hell, somewhere in this tangled mess of plot threads might even be something intriguing if the movie really focuses on it.
Why am I not surprised?
You work for Disney?
What?
You work for Disney?
Gary! What?
Why did they bleep the word Disney? What could possibly be the point of bleeping the word Disney at this point?
creative choice?
No, a creative choice would be not saying it in the first place.
You work for Disney.
Unless he's asking if the guy works for Beatrix Kiddo, this had to have been a paranoid legal decision to cover their asses, except they only covered half their asses by half-assing it. So apparently no one will notice this, but the word Disney is strictly verboten, except when it's not.
If we make the posters with little girls reaching for your junk, then you have to wear purity rings or else the company looks bad.
Well, for crying out loud, when does anybody get to go to land with Walt Disney himself?
I don't know, maybe this movie just sucks and nobody knew what they were doing. You remember when you bought your first camera and they made you fill out that competence exam?
No.
Me neither! Now I'm depressed. I'm gonna go prank call Jane Goodall. That's your solution to everything!
Anyway, after escaping from this Daft Punk reject, Jim runs around World Showcase frantically looking for his daughter.
Sarah!
I wish. And after he sees Dr. Meinheimer here gnawing on a big old emu leg, Jim thinks to check Emu Lady's hotel room, where sure enough, he finds his daughter sleeping in a bed of roses. Christ, has this whole fucking movie been a Kevin Spacey fantasy?
You don't just take someone's kid.
I always bring them back.
Bring them back?
Some people don't even notice.
Once I kidnapped an Olsen twin and took them 3 whole seasons to notice. Then Budget Amy Sedaris here puts Jim in a trance with her roofie necklace and explains the one thing I know you've all been patiently waiting for this movie to finally explain, her own backstory. Well, thank God! Apparently she used to be a Disney princess until one fateful day when she accidentally hugged a little girl too tightly and killed her. That's right, puny earthlings. Visionary filmmaker Randy Moore has created a world where hugs are dangerous, and he expects us to voluntarily visit it.
Bad things happen everywhere.
Yeah, but last I checked, they don't usually happen in hugs. At least that's my experience, but hey, maybe there's someone watching somewhere going, yeah, I never did trust them damn hugs. I never got them as a child neither, and I'm better for it. Trump 2016!
You know, maybe I just need to do more research on the director. Maybe if I learn more about the lunatic who made this Rubik's Cube of a movie, I could find some sort of a cheat code. Okay, I am Googling Randy Moore. Wow, this is fascinating. Apparently, Randy Moore is a blonde female porn star. That does explain an awful lot. Thanks, Google. You know, I should watch some of Randy Moore's other films just to get a broader sense, just to be safe. Search off. Ooh, sex therapist. How alluringly redundant.
Meanwhile, back in Mouse Mingle.
But I hate happy endings.
Hate's a bad word.
So the Wicked Witch is defeated? She doesn't seem too devastated by the loss of her source of power. Do you care? I don't. Whatever ends the movie quicker. Jim takes Sarah back to the Hugbox Hotel, and with Epcot shutting down for the night...
Yeah, I've also ridden Journey into Imagination.
Oh god, he's suffering late-stage Pratentia! You know, it just occurred to me that I haven't really discussed the acting in this film. And at the risk of damning the actors with faint praise, they are easily the best thing about this movie. Even the child actors are good, which is very rare. You can tell everyone's doing the best they can with this hideous fucking material. I mean, look at this guy. That's a real person playing this thankless part. His name is Roy Abramson, and before he auditioned for this rigmarole, he was just one of thousands of struggling LA actors taking whatever crumbs of screen time Hollywood threw his way. And as much as I hate this movie, I don't blame Abramson at all for taking this crumb. Most actors never get to play the lead in any feature film, and even when this has a very solid chance of being his greatest contribution to the ages, he is still giving it his all.
In fact, around the time this movie came out, I actually got to meet Mr. Abramson, and he was kind enough to do this.
Hi there, I am Roy Abramson from Escape from Tomorrow, the movie that just came out today. And until the lawyers find out about us, you are watching Some Jerk with a Camera.
Shame I can't ever use it.
Anyway, the next morning, dawn breaks on Epcot, and this happens. Yes, cat flu has taken the life of the man who fell to Spaceship Earth here because apparently the French girl he got it from is immune to it, and young Willem Dafoe here implants the memory of Jim's son riding the Florida Buzz Lightyear even though they were online for the California one. To be fair, hybrid fairness is for the weak. Say, while I've got you guys, any chance you could implant a memory of me doing anything but watching this movie? I'm not picky. It could be a memory of me getting a root canal, or me visiting the Holocaust Museum, or me getting shrunk to the size of a tapeworm and burrowing through the small intestine of a diseased yak, or me being held down by enormous bodyguards while a naked Dick Cheney rubs his pale leathery scrotum all over my face for 90 minutes. Anything! Anyway, the mice in black here moved Jim's corpse out of the hotel.
Presumably they cut this scene.
Back to the basket. I can't live. Come on. Mr. Fulton, I don't want to work here anymore.
And with 2 minutes to go until closing credits, I guess now's as good a time as any to ask, is Disney gonna do anything evil in your movie about how evil Disney is? Think about it. None of the bad shit that's happened has been Disney's fault. Disney didn't cause the cat flu. Disney didn't kidnap Jim. Disney didn't fire Jim. Disney did fire the woman who roofied Jim and kidnapped Sarah. And according to Siemens 3PO here, Disney didn't even shut down Buzz Lightyear.
We even had to shut down the Buzz Lightyear.
What's the worst Disney does do in this movie? Clean up after a dead guest, fire a woman who killed a girl, neuralize a kid to make his trip better, sell a dead bird as a different dead bird, and they may or may not be forcing princesses to have sex for money against their will, which is evil if true, but the film takes so microscopically little stock in how these women actually feel about it, it only even counts if you have a knee-jerk opinion that all sex workers are bad, okay? And allegedly, Disney wants to control imagination according to a company that kidnapped a man, so who the fuck do you trust? There is so much satire you could make about Disney and how they treat us all like idiots while selling inferior sanitized copies of our own childhoods back to us at increasingly exorbitant prices, but this movie would rather blame the fat, stupid people who for some reason enjoy it anyway.
So the way I see it, now that this movie has failed in its attempt at subversion, it basically has two choices here at the home stretch. It could pull some sort of a desperate last-ditch Hail Mary attempt to redeem this whole boondoggle, or it could pull an even more desperate, completely nonsensical twist ending that has nothing to do with anything, just to completely obliterate whatever brain cells the audience might still accidentally have. Call it, movie. Heads it is.
Checking in, or?
That we are.
I got nothing.
Oh, come on! I paid how much for you? Get back in your damn closet!
I can't. What? Why? What? Would the he would in the ship
Did he have a twin? A twin who just happens to be checking into this hotel on the same day Jim checked out? And Jim harbored a secret crush on his brother's wife and fantasized about her on Soarin'? And meanwhile his twin was the son's real father, which explains that small world scene? I mean, forgive me for leaping to such mundane conclusions on Zero Exposition. My dumb brain thinks like regular people. But no, this probably is Jim, isn't it? Retroactively reincarnated, alternate timeline, high-concept, Cloud Atlas, Mr. Nobody horseshit Jim. Only now he's happy, cause he is a hot wife, cause women are basically prizes, am I right, ladies? She even lets him kiss her in public for a whole half a second there, whoop-de shit! And the French girls are Tinkerbells because
Jim is Peter Pan, and he gets to stay in his 40s forever, having permanently escaped from tomorrow. Yay! Eternal prostate exams! What in God's holy name are we supposed to get from that fucking ending? How are we ever
It's heaven.
to... What?
It's supposed to be heaven.
Who the hell are you?
I'm sorry, where are my manners? My name is Trevor McCune, and I played the bellhop in that scene.
Allow me to help you with your luggage.
Oh, yeah! So, what did the director tell you?
Not much. He just told me to smile, like I knew something that the other characters didn't. I don't know what I knew. I don't think he did either. At one point he described my character as a gatekeeper, so I asked, am I like St. Peter or something? And he just smiled and he said, very good. Keep that in mind when you're saying your lines.
So Disney World is in both heaven and earth, and when Jim dies, he goes right back to where he started, and his new wife is, what, the first of 72 virgins? That still doesn't make any sense!
I know. I brought my girlfriend and parents to the premiere, and they had to sit through 86 minutes of clusterfuck just to see me have 2 lines at the end.
Damn. You know, I actually wasted an additional 90 minutes of my life listening to the DVD commentary of this shit. I was desperately hoping to find some minuscule grain of explanation of what it all meant.
Let me guess. They spent the entire time talking about how they shot the film, and not one word why.
Did they even have a why?
You're asking the wrong questions. Disney World, heaven, those are the whats and the whys, when you should be asking yourself who. Who has enough free time to find deeper meaning in a script that was so obviously cobbled together at random? When we left that DVD for you at City Walk, we hoped you might be the one. The key to unlocking this mystery, wrapped in a riddle, inside an enigma, seasoned on a taco, wedged in a glove compartment, eaten by 2 dead emus, and left to rot in their godforsaken carcasses. I've seen your show, jerk. And if you don't have enough free time, no one does.
How come you don't have that kind of insight? All my scenes were cut. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah, I'm so glad I talked us into this 3-way. Oh yeah. I'll never be clean again. I'll clean you. Go away. Come on, I'm hungry. I can only imagine the discussions that must have happened in the Disney corporate boardrooms after this movie made headlines.
I imagine some of the executives probably wanted to sue it into oblivion, and they probably made arguments to the effect of, it violates our copyright and it diminishes our brand, etc. But I imagine the prevailing counter-argument went a little something like...
You're just confused. You've forgotten how to judge correctly. Take a deep breath. Look at it again. Oh, it's a piece of shit. Exactly. That's all it is.
Sweet God Almighty, is this ever a piece of shit? Half of it bores me, half of it confuses me, and all of it pisses me off. It's not even pretentious. You need ambition to be pretentious. This is just fucking inept. It is such a turkey, it would confuse itself for an emu if it had a leg to stand on. I'm not the least bit surprised Disney didn't feed this troll. They would have Streisand affected themselves into a laughingstock if they'd given half a shit about this glorified home movie provoked into unholy, disastrous existence by literally some jerk with a camera. And I shit you not, to my knowledge, the closest that jerk ever came to explaining why he did what he did to that poor camera was...
I used the word postmodern to describe the film because apparently some people were confused by the story, so I'd say, oh well, it's postmodern, and they'd just stop asking questions.
Wow, that's just fucking stupid. Postmodernism is an extremely broad term covering 1,000 smaller movements in art, film, literature, architecture, music, and pretty much every other medium, covering such themes as concept over content, deconstruction of narrative and identity, and celebration of intertextuality, it can be applied to everything from Madonna to Quentin Tarantino to Adult Swim to the internet in general, including this very web series. Using it as an all-purpose explanation for nonsense is as cynical a deflection as saying, I'm speaking English and that should explain everything. You fucker.
How did I ever live without this thing? But even the most postmodern non sequitur zippity dada might have still been intriguing, maybe even, dare I use the word, funny, if it wasn't so goddamn joyless. This isn't even gleeful nihilism, this movie is fucking bitter. And beneath all the arbitrary, budget Lynchian, cryptic gobbledygook, it is more style over substance than the cheesiest Main Street parade. It has nothing insightful to say about the dark side of escapism that wasn't said better by a 32-year-old Chevy Chase comedy. Hell, this film was outclassed by the fucking reboot of a 32-year-old Chevy Chase comedy. But hey, at least it's not a Ben Stiller comedy!
It's not a Ben Stiller comedy.
You see, people... Oh, what's that word? It's that thing I never do. Like. People like Ben Stiller comedies. That's not what I'm going for. So what the ever-loving crap in a coonskin cap was it going for? Well, based on the very few scenes where stuff happened for reasons, I think it was trying to make a comment on forced happiness. Theme parks do have an annoying habit of trying to shove joy down your throat at all times, and that can be alienating if you're not in the right mood for it. Emily Dickinson spent the whole trip hiding her true emotions, not very well, but that's another story, and when tensions finally rose to the surface, they erupted very loudly. I think we've all at least witnessed outbursts like that. It's not always violent, but sometimes people just can't take anymore. And what better setting for it than the so-called happiest place on Earth?
We're all gonna have so much fucking fun we'll need plastic surgery to remove our goddamn smiles. You'll be whistling zippity-doo-dah out of your assholes.
This can be done right. I swear to God, there are good movies about characters who try and fail to deny their own depression. But just because these characters hate themselves doesn't mean the writer has to follow suit. If you can't see your own characters as anything more than, he's a pervert, she's a scold, the kids are just kids, who gives a shit, then what fucking chance do we have to empathize?
Then again, maybe in this case the empathy is retroactive. After all, I now know exactly how it feels to pay good money for a theme park related diversion and then try my damnedest to enjoy myself as it becomes more and more of an inexplicable nightmare with every passing minute!
There was more than enough screen time to inject a little humanity into this, to teach us more about these characters, to give us something, anything, beyond the basest of sitcom stereotypes, and it wasted that time retelling us what we already knew. This movie has so little regard for basic human connection, it depicted a hug as lethal! And that was the precise moment this went from being just another bad movie to an evil movie. But for a hot second there, it didn't matter. This movie didn't need to live or die on its merits, you see. It had false scarcity going for it. Every think piece about it fixated solely on how bold and provocative it was to shoot at the Disney parks without permission.
Guess what? Not impressed.
But oh no, the evil boogeyman lawyers will never let this come out. Better see it now before they seize every copy and throw it in the deepest recesses of the Disney vault between Song of the South and the Sweatbox. And now it's available at Target and no one gives a fuck. So its distributors have had to resort to other sources of revenue, like claiming monetization of my review of a movie they shot at Disney World without permission. And the specific scene they singled out as evidence of my copyright infringement was the It's a Small World scene.
God forbid anyone else try to make a dime off the intellectual property they stole fair and square, right? You know, I've been doing this show for almost 5 years now, reviewing primarily Disney crap. In that time, you want to know who's never come after me? Disney. Yeah, after all the footage I've shot on their property without a scrap of permission, and after all the completely unlicensed clips from Disney movies and TV shows and promo videos and God knows what else that I have used, as of this recording, not a single evil boogeyman Disney lawyer has even once so much as tried to claim monetization. But the makers of Escape from Tomorrow did, after part 1 of this review was on YouTube, unlisted, for less than a minute. So thank Heavenly God Almighty
that it was all for something other than a measly Ben fucking Stiller comedy. At least then the director might have blown up. Oh.
Please go see Escape from Tomorrow.
No! Damn corporate whore shilling his useless product!
You have no idea how much I really wanted to like this movie. I mean, yeah, sure, I was a little jealous that Randy Moore was getting all this attention and I wasn't, but in a way, I was the target audience for this film. I am so intensely familiar with its surface-level gimmick, in practice, mind you, not just theory, that I was very easily able to look past that gimmick and examine this movie as a movie.
I wanted to like it so much that the first time I saw it, I was half convinced I was the problem, like the victim of an abusive relationship.
I just didn't get it. And I'm sure that's the dismissive claim admirers of this film will lobby against me is, oh, you just don't get it. Well, you're right.
And in a way, I guess I still don't. But in spite of absolutely everything, I am still glad this movie exists. I don't recommend it, but I'm glad it exists. Because I want it to be held up as an example, even if only a cautionary example, of what just about anyone can do nowadays. I want more people to attempt what he did, only better, and use places like Disneyland as a canvas, because it's a pretty fucking good canvas. And that's not an accident. For better or worse, Disneyland was the first place to bring the manipulative eye of the filmmaker to an amusement park, to make its guests feel like they've magically stepped inside a movie. In fact, had it failed as a theme park, Walt's plan B was to turn it into a studio backlot. And now, thanks to little beauties like this, it's both. Drew McWeeny couldn't have been more wrong. This film wasn't just possible, it was inevitable. No matter what some soulless YouTube bot on the wrong side of history may tell you, no one needs anyone's permission to make stuff anymore. We never did, really, we just thought we did because they had all the resources. But now we all have HD cameras in our pockets and worldwide distribution at our fingertips. And the very existence of Escape from Tomorrow means more symbolically than its content ever could, but its content is borderline unwatchable, like a less racist Birth of a Nation.
And that's the tragedy of all this. This movie could have and should have been nothing less than a watershed film for the YouTube generation. It could have been a massive fuck you to the copyright Nazis on behalf of the common man. Instead, it was a fuck you to the common man and common sense and the concept of entertainment. That's all Disneyland is, really, when you get down to it. It's a venue for entertainment. It's called the happiest place on earth, but happiness is an illusion. At best, it's an occasional side effect of the human experience, but it's never been the default setting. And that's why we divert ourselves. We escape, if you will. It's the reason why we sit in a darkened room full of strangers and stare at a glowing rectangle. It's the reason why we crack open bound collections of dead tree slivers and interpret the symbols printed therein as a story. And yes, it's the reason why, even as childless adults, we still visit make-believe fantasy kingdoms. Not because we think they're real, but because we know they're fake. That ability to escape, to embrace the power of imagination over boring, horrible reality, it's what makes us human. Don't you agree?
I guess I just wanted to really explore that feeling that people have and that mania. You know, you just see the mania of people just coming in, almost like they're going off the cliff together.
What?
Almost like they're going off the cliff together.
seldom I've seen a morning so bright, a field in full bloom, a perfect still life. But seldom there's been a morning so bright that sad eyes could not paint it gray. It's the drop in my head, dragging my shoes, and I know that love is every man's blues. But I guess my heart has not heard the news. Lord, it's been so far away. On a real good day, I'm the world's best friend. You'd be mine too if you caught me just then. And though I'm not happy, I can't pretend on a real good day. From the park bench I watch the kids cross the green as young couples play the old tender scenes. Walk hand in hand, the summer's daydreams. Soon with the season they'll fade. Could believe beneath God's blue sky that dreams could fall cold, that soft lips would lie. The secret old men, mindful to hide, sometimes are bound to betray. There's a faraway feeling that comes home again on a real good day. On a real good day, I'm the world's best friend. You'd be mine too if you caught me just then. Though I'm not happy, I can't pretend on a real